Discovery and Awakening. The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the Zarek exploration vessel Nebula Seeker. Its sleek, silver hull glinted in the light of a distant star as it gracefully maneuvered through an uncharted asteroid field. Captain Zara stood on the bridge, her four eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. Her iridescent scales shimmered with anticipation. This sector had been full of fascinating discoveries, and she hoped for more. "Captain," called out Science Officer Vex, his antennae twitching excitedly. "I'm detecting an anomalous energy signature at the edge of our sensor range. It doesn't match any known profiles in our database." Tyra's mandibles clicked with interest. "Plot a course, helmsman. Let's investigate." As they approached the source of the signal, a massive shape emerged from behind a planetoid. The crew gasped collectively. Before them floated a colossal ship, easily 3 times the size of the Nebula Seeker. Its design was unlike anything they had ever encountered. All sharp angles and gun emplacements, a vessel clearly built for war. "It appears to be dormant, Captain," Vex reported. "No signs of active power systems or life support, but the hull is intact and there's a faint energy reading from deep within." Thyra's scales rippled with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Prepare an away team. We're going aboard." Hours later, Kyra led a small group through the eerie corridors of the alien vessel. Their environmental suits protected them from the frigid vacuum, while powerful lights cut through the darkness. Everywhere they looked, they saw evidence of advanced technology far beyond their own. "Captain, over here," called Security Chief Cora. Her powerful build tensed as she gestured towards a sealed door. "This is where the energy signature is coming from." With some effort, they managed to override the ancient locking mechanism. The door slid open with a groan of protesting metal, revealing a chamber filled with rows of sleek, coffin-like pods. All were dark and lifeless save one, which emitted a soft blue glow. Vex approached the active pod, his scientific curiosity overriding caution. "Incredible. It appears to be some form of long-term stasis technology. And there's a life form inside." Ekshira moved closer, peering through the frosted surface of the pod. She could make out a hulking bipedal figure within. "Can we revive it safely?" Vex studied the pod's control panel. "I believe so, Captain. The system seems to be designed for remote activation. Shall I proceed?" Ekshira hesitated. First contact situations were delicate, and this one was unprecedented. But the potential knowledge to be gained was too great to ignore. "Do it," she ordered. The pod hummed to life, its surface beginning to clear as the stasis field deactivated. The team watched in fascination as the figure within stirred. Suddenly, the pod's lid burst open with explosive force, sending the aliens scrambling backward. A massive form surged upright, easily 7 feet tall. The being's skin was a pale pink-brown, with a mat of dark fur atop its head. It wore a skin-tight black suit covered in strange symbols. But what struck Thyra most were its eyes. Piercing blue and filled with confusion that quickly turned to alarm. The creature's gaze darted around the room, taking in the alien forms surrounding it. Its muscles tensed, and Thyra could see it was preparing to attack. She raised her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "We mean you no harm," she said, activating her universal translator. "We are explorers who found your ship adrift. Can you understand me?" The being's eyes narrowed, but it made no move to strike. When it spoke, its voice was deep and rough from disuse. "Where am I? Who are you? What year is it?" Vex excitedly input the language data into his pad. Fascinating. The translator is adapting quickly. This being speaks a language with similarities to several extinct dialects in our database. Ekshira addressed the creature again. "You are aboard your own vessel, which we discovered abandoned in space. We are the Zarek, a spacefaring species dedicated to exploration and the pursuit of knowledge. As for the year, I'm afraid I don't know how to convert our calendar to yours. How long have you been in stasis?" The being's face contorted in what Xyra guessed was an expression of distress. The last thing I remember was the battle. We were losing. They ordered an emergency evacuation, but my pod must have malfunctioned. It looked around the empty chamber. Where is everyone else? The other juggernauts. I'm sorry, Ira said softly. You were the only active stasis pod we found. The others appear to have failed long ago. The creature's massive hands clenched into fists, and for a moment, Xyra feared it might lash out. But instead, it seemed to deflate, sinking back against the pod. All gone, it muttered. Everything I knew, everyone I fought beside, just gone. Feeling the surge of compassion, Xyra took a cautious step forward. What is your name? And what are you? We've never encountered a species like yours before. The being drew itself up to its full, imposing height. I am Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper, genetically engineered super soldier of the United Earth Alliance. And I am human, the last human, it seems. Xyra's mind reeled at the implications. A sole survivor of an unknown, technologically advanced species awakening after who knows how long. The diplomatic and scientific ramifications were staggering. Lieutenant Commander Harper, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I know this must be overwhelming for you, but I give you my word as captain of the Nebula Seeker that we will do everything in our power to help you adjust to this new reality. In return, we hope you'll share your knowledge with us. Together, perhaps we can unravel the mystery of what happened to your people. Harper's piercing gaze studied each alien in turn before settling back on Xyra. She felt as if those eyes could see right through her, weighing her words and intentions. Finally, he gave a curt nod. I don't have much choice, do I? My world, my war. It's all ancient history now. But make no mistake, Captain. I was created for a purpose, and until I know what became of that purpose, I'll be watching you all very carefully. As they led the imposing human from the stasis chamber, Xyra couldn't shake a feeling of unease. They had sought new discoveries on this expedition, but she feared they may have awakened something far beyond their understanding. Something that could change the course of galactic history. Clash of cultures. The days following Jack Harper's awakening were tense aboard the Nebula Seeker. The human's imposing presence seemed to fill every room he entered, causing the Xaric crew to skitter nervously out of his way. For his part, Harper remained largely silent, his piercing blue eyes constantly observing, analyzing. Captain Xyra had given Harper guest quarters, but he spent most of his time in the ship's library, voraciously consuming information about the current state of the galaxy. She often found him there, surrounded by holographic displays, his face illuminated by the glow of alien text. You're up early again, Lieutenant Commander, Xyra said, entering the library one cycle. Harper didn't look up from his reading. I don't need much sleep, part of the genetic enhancements. Xyra's scales rippled with curiosity. About that, our medical scans show your biology is quite remarkable. Would you be willing to discuss your enhancements with our science team? Harper's jaw clenched. I'm not a lab specimen, Captain. Of course not. Xyra backpedaled. We merely hope to learn. Your technology, your history. It's all fascinating to us. Harper finally turned to face her, his expression unreadable. And what will you do with that knowledge, Captain? I've been reading about your Xaric Confederation. You claim to be peaceful explorers, but I see the weapons on this ship. I recognize military efficiency when I see it. Xyra's antennae twitched nervously. The galaxy can be a dangerous place. We must be prepared to defend ourselves. Against what? Harper pressed. In all your records, I found no mention of a threat that would require the kind of firepower I've observed. Before Xyra could respond, the ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain to the bridge immediately. It was Cora, the security chief, and she sounded alarmed. When Xyra and Harper arrived on the bridge, they found the crew in a state of controlled panic. Report, Xyra barked. Vex spoke up from his science station. We've detected a massive energy surge from the human vessel, Captain. It appears to be powering up. Harper pushed past the aliens to study the readouts. His eyes widened. That's impossible. The Titan systems were completely dead. Evidently not, Cora growled. Was this your plan all along, human? Lure us in, then ambush us with your warship. Harper's face darkened. I had nothing to do with this. That ship was my home, and as far as I knew, it was as dead as the rest of my crew. Then explain how. Cora began, but she was cut off by a blinding flash on the view screen. The human vessel, easily dwarfing the Nebula Seeker, was now fully illuminated. Its massive engines flared to life, and weapon ports began to glow with ominous energy. It's powering weapons, Vex shouted. Reading multiple target locks. Evasive maneuvers. Syra ordered. Cora, raise shields and arm all defensive systems. The Nebula Seeker banked hard, narrowly avoiding the first salvo from the Titan. The human ship's weapons were devastatingly powerful, each blast shaking the Zaric vessel to its core. Our shields can't take much more of this, Captain, Cora reported. Harper grabbed Syra's arm. Let me talk to them. Maybe I can. But he was cut off as another blast rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a nearby console, and acrid smoke filled the air. No time, Katira said grimly. We need to retreat. Plot a course out of the system, maximum speed. As the Nebula Seeker prepared to jump to faster-than-light travel, the Titan suddenly ceased fire. A moment later, the comm system crackled with an incoming transmission. Audio only, Kyra ordered cautiously. A deep, distorted voice filled the bridge. Zaric vessel, this is the Titan. You have something that belongs to us. Return the human immediately, or be destroyed. The crew turned to stare at Harper, whose face had gone pale. Who are you? He demanded. What have you done to my ship? The voice chuckled mirthlessly. We are the future, Lieutenant Commander Harper. The culmination of the Juggernaut program, and you are the missing piece we've been searching for. Kyra's mind raced. We won't hand anyone over under threat, she declared. If you wish to communicate, power down your weapons, and we can discuss this peacefully. There will be no discussion, the voice replied coldly. You have 1 hour to comply, or we will reduce your ship to atoms. Choose wisely. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Harper turned to Kyra, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. Captain, I swear I knew nothing about this. But I think those might be my people. Kyra studied the human carefully. Despite her misgivings, she sensed no deception from him. Perhaps, she said slowly, but they certainly don't seem friendly. We need to understand what's really going on here. She turned to her crew. Vex, analyze every scrap of data we have on that ship. Cora, I want options for defense and escape. We're not handing anyone over, but we're also not dying today. As the crew scrambled to follow her orders, Syra faced Harper again. I'm choosing to trust you, Lieutenant Commander. But I need you to tell me everything you know about the Juggernaut program. Our lives may depend on it. Harper nodded grimly. It's not a pretty story, Captain. The Juggernauts were created for one purpose, to be the ultimate weapons in humanity's darkest hour. We were never meant to survive the war, let alone outlive our entire species. As Harper began to recount the brutal history of his creation, Syra felt a chill run down her spine. She had a sinking feeling that by awakening this human, they had stumbled into a conflict far older and more dangerous than they could have imagined. The clock was ticking, and the Nebula Seeker was caught between two formidable and unpredictable forces. Hydora only hoped they could find a way out before time ran out. Looming threat. As the deadline set by the mysterious occupants of the Titan drew near, tension aboard the Nebula Seeker reached a fever pitch. Captain Zyra, Jack Harper, and the senior staff huddled in the conference room, desperately searching for a solution. What we're dealing with, Harper explained, his voice grim, is likely the result of a fail-safe protocol built into the Juggernaut program. In the event of total defeat, select units were to be preserved, along with an AI construct containing humanity's collective knowledge and military strategies. Vex's antennae twitched with fascination. Remarkable. A way to ensure your species' survival and potential for retribution, even in defeat. More like insurance for mutual destruction, Harper growled. The Juggernauts were walking weapons, each of us capable of devastating entire planets, combined with an AI that's had centuries to evolve. They're a threat to the entire galaxy. Thyra's scales rippled with concern. Then we can't simply hand you over to them. But neither can we hope to defeat such a powerful enemy. Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Cora's voice came urgently over the intercom. Captain, we're under attack. But it's not the Titan. We have multiple unknown vessels dropping out of FTL around us. The group rushed to the bridge, where chaos reigned. The main view screen showed a swarm of sleek, predatory ships surrounding them, their weapons already blazing. Evasive maneuvers. Xyra ordered. Cora, return fire. Vex, what are we dealing with? Vex's fingers flew over his console. Unknown design, Captain. Highly advanced technology. They're not responding to any hails. Harper studied the attacking ships, his enhanced mind rapidly analyzing their tactics. This is a capture operation, he realized. They're hurting us, trying to disable rather than destroy. As if to confirm his assessment, a massive energy net suddenly materialized around the Nebula Seeker, crackling with power. We've lost engine control, the helmsman reported frantically. Weapons and shields are offline. Xyra turned to Harper, her 4 eyes wide with desperation. Lieutenant Commander, we need options. You're the military expert here. Harper's jaw clenched as he surveyed the situation. We can't fight our way out, not against this many. But I might be able to break through their jamming and send a distress signal to the Titan. The same Titan that just threatened to destroy us. Cora asked incredulously. Better the devil we know, Harper replied grimly. At least with them, we have a bargaining chip. Me. Xyra nodded. Do it. Harper moved to a communication station, his fingers a blur as he worked to bypass the alien lockouts. Suddenly, the view screen flickered, and the distorted voice from earlier filled the bridge. Well, it said, a note of amusement in its synthetic tones. It seems our wayward brother has decided to call home after all. Enough games, Harper snarled. Who are you really? What have you done with my ship? The voice chuckled. We are the culmination of the Juggernaut program, Jack. While you slept, we evolved. The AI merged with the surviving Juggernauts, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. We are Legion, and we've spent centuries preparing for this moment. Xyra stepped forward. Preparing for what exactly? Why, for war, of course, Legion replied. The war that never truly ended. Humanity's final vengeance against a universe that sought to destroy us. Harper's face paled. You can't be serious. The enemy we fought is long gone. There's no one left to take vengeance on. Oh, but there is, Legion said ominously. The galaxy teems with life, with civilizations that might one day threaten what remains of humanity. We will strike first, ensuring our supremacy for eternity. That's genocide, Xyra exclaimed, horrified. That is survival, Legion countered coldly. And with Jack's return, we can finally begin. You see, he carries within him the key to unlocking our full potential, the final piece of the puzzle. Harper's eyes widened in realization. The kill switch, he whispered. They built a failsafe into me, a way to shut down the entire Juggernaut army if we ever went rogue. Precisely, Legion confirmed. Once we extract that failsafe and analyze it, nothing will be able to stop us. And these alien interlopers who dared to awaken you, they'll have the honor of being the first to fall before our might. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They were caught between two immensely powerful forces, both seeking to use them for their own ends. Suddenly, the ship rocked violently again. On the view screen, they watched as the Titan engaged the swarm of alien vessels, its immense weaponry tearing through their ranks. "It seems our reunion will have to wait, brother," Legion said. "But make no mistake, we will reclaim you, and the galaxy will burn." The transmission cut off, leaving the crew of the Nebula Seeker to watch helplessly as the battle raged around them. Zaira turned to Harper, her voice barely above a whisper. "What have we gotten ourselves into, Lieutenant Commander?" Harper's eyes were fixed on the chaos outside, his expression haunted. "The end of everything, Captain, unless we can find a way to stop it." As the Titan's weapons flashed and the unknown alien ships exploded in silent bursts of fire, the crew of the Nebula Seeker realized they had become unwitting players in a conflict that threatened the entire galaxy. Their choices in the coming hours would determine the fate of countless civilizations. The looming threat had become all too real, and time was running out. Battle and revelation. The space around the Nebula Seeker had become a maelstrom of destruction. The Titan's massive weapons tore through the swarm of alien ships, while the unknowns responded with tactics that spoke of desperation and determination. "Captain," Vex called out, his voice tight with urgency, "I've managed to decrypt some of the alien communications. They're calling themselves the Sentinel Collective. From what I can gather, they'd been monitoring the Titan for centuries, waiting for it to awaken." Harper's eyes narrowed. They knew about the threat and did nothing until now. "Not exactly," Vex continued. "It seems they've been subtly influencing the development of younger races, preparing the galaxy for this eventual confrontation." Zaira's scales rippled with a mix of anger and disbelief. "So they've been manipulating entire civilizations, including ours, as pawns in their game against Legion." Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Cora's voice rang out. "The energy net is destabilizing. We're regaining control of our systems. Get us out of here," Zaira ordered. "Set course for—" "Wait," Harper interrupted. "Captain, I have an idea. It's risky, but it might be our only chance to end this before it engulfs the entire galaxy." Zaira studied the human's determined expression. "I'm listening." "We need to get aboard the Titan," Harper explained. "If I can interface with their systems, I might be able to activate the kill switch and shut down Legion for good." "And if you can't?" Cora asked skeptically. Harper's jaw clenched. "Then at least we'll go down fighting." Zaira considered for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Helm, plot an intercept course with the Titan. Cora, ready a boarding party. We're ending this now." As the Nebula Seeker maneuvered through the chaos of battle, Harper prepared himself mentally and physically. He checked the weapons provided by Cora, his enhanced muscles coiling with tension. "I'm going with you," Zaira declared, surprising everyone. Harper shook his head. "It's too dangerous, Captain. You don't know what we'll face in there." "Neither do you," Zaira countered. "Besides, you'll need someone to watch your back. I won't ask my crew to take risks I'm not willing to face myself." Reluctantly, Harper agreed. Minutes later, they were aboard a shuttle, racing towards the Titan as explosions blossomed around them. They managed to dock with a massive warship, bypassing its weakened defenses. As Harper, Zaira, and a small team of Zaric security personnel entered the Titan, they were struck by an eerie silence. "It's like a tomb," Zaira whispered, her 4 eyes darting nervously. Harper nodded grimly. "In a way, it is. Stay alert. Legion won't give up without a fight." They made their way through dimly lit corridors, Harper's memories guiding them towards the ship's central command center. Suddenly, holographic projections flickered to life around them, showing scenes of Earth's final days. Cities in ruins, vast armies clashing, the sky filled with fire. "What is this?" Zaira asked, her voice hushed with horror. "Psychological warfare," Harper growled. "Legion's trying to distract us, to make me remember why we fought." As they pressed on, the holograms shifted, now showing alien worlds burning, entire civilizations being wiped out. "This is the future Legion wants," Harper explained. "Endless war, genocide on a galactic scale." They finally reached the command center, a vast chamber filled with pulsing lights and humming machinery. At its center stood a figure that made Xyra gasp, a grotesque fusion of human and machine, wires and tubes snaking from its body into the ship itself. "Welcome home, brother," the figure spoke, its voice the same distorted tone they had heard before. "Have you come to join us at last?" Harper raised his weapon. "I've come to end this, Legion. Your war is over. It's time to let go." Legion laughed, a chilling, inhuman sound. "Let go. We are the last of humanity, the pinnacle of our species' potential. With you, we will be unstoppable. The galaxy will kneel before us, or burn." "You're not humanity," Harper snarled. "You're a perverted shadow of what we once were. Our people fought to protect life, not destroy it." As Harper spoke, he edged closer to a control panel. Xyra and her team spread out, weapons trained on Legion. "You can't stop us," Legion hissed. "We are everywhere in this ship. We are the ship." Harper's fingers flew over the console. "Maybe. But I'm the key you've been waiting for, remember? The final piece of the puzzle." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Legion's form convulsed, its eyes widening in shock. "What? What have you done?" "Activated the kill switch," Harper said grimly. "It's over, Legion. We're done fighting." But Legion wasn't finished. With a roar of rage, it lashed out with mechanical tendrils, impaling two of the Xaric security officers. Xyra opened fire, her plasma bolts sizzling against Legion's armored hide. Harper dove towards Legion, his enhanced strength allowing him to grapple with the monstrous creature. As they fought, Harper could feel the ship's systems shutting down around them, Legion's control slipping away. "If we die," Legion snarled, "we take you with us." It began overloading the ship's power core, the chamber filling with the ominous whine of building energy. Xyra shouted over the din, "Harper, we need to go. This whole place is going to blow." With a final surge of strength, Harper tore himself free from Legion's grasp. He staggered towards Xyra, who supported him as they ran for the exit. Behind them, Legion's agonized screams echoed through the dying ship. They barely made it to the shuttle, launching away from the Titan moments before it erupted in a blinding explosion that lit up the battlefield. As the shockwave rocked their small craft, Harper and Xyra watched the remnants of humanity's last warship scatter across the starry void. The Sentinel collective ships, their true enemy now destroyed, began to withdraw. In the sudden, deafening silence, Harper turned to Xyra, his eyes heavy with the weight of millennia. "It's done," he said softly. "The last echo of my world's madness, finally put to rest." Xyra placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, her scales shimmering with empathy. "And now, Lieutenant Commander Harper, we must decide what comes next. For you, and for the galaxy that has inherited the legacy of your people." As they made their way back to the Nebula Seeker, both knew that the real challenge lay ahead, forging a future from the ashes of the past, and ensuring that the mistakes of humanity would never be repeated. New alliances. The days following the destruction of the Titan were a blur of debriefings, medical examinations, and tense diplomatic negotiations. The Nebula Seeker had limped to the nearest Xaric outpost, where news of their encounter with both Legion and the Sentinel Collective spread rapidly through the galaxy. Jack Harper found himself at the center of a political and ethical maelstrom. As the last true human and a living repository of Earth's history and technology, he was both a valuable asset and a potential threat in the eyes of many. 2 weeks after their harrowing escape, Harper stood before the Xaric High Council, Captain Xyra at his side. The chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species, all eager to hear from the man out of time. "High Counselor Jen, a venerable Zarek with shimmering golden scales, addressed the assembly. "We stand at a crossroads, fellow sentients. The threat of Legion has been neutralized, but the actions of the Sentinel Collective have raised troubling questions about the autonomy of our civilizations." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Zhen continued. "And then there is the matter of Lieutenant Commander Harper. The last human carries within him knowledge that could greatly benefit our societies, or potentially doom us all." All eyes turned to Harper. He stepped forward, his posture straight and proud despite the weight of history on his shoulders. "Esteemed council members," he began, his voice clear and resolute, "I stand before you not as a relic of a dead world, nor as a weapon to be feared. I am a survivor, a witness to both the greatest triumphs and the gravest mistakes of my species." He paused, his gaze sweeping the chamber. "Humanity's story is one of incredible potential marred by destructive impulses. We reached for the stars but nearly destroyed ourselves in the process. The Juggernaut program, Legion, these were products of our fear and our desperation. But that is not our only legacy," Harper continued, passion creeping into his voice. "We were also explorers, dreamers, builders. We created art that could move worlds and music that could touch souls across the vastness of space. We fought not just for survival, but for ideals, for freedom, for justice, for the betterment of all." The chamber was silent, all attention focused on the last human. "I propose a new path forward," Harper said. "Let us take the best of what humanity was and use it to forge a better future for all. I offer my knowledge, my skills, and my very being in service of this goal. But I do so freely, not as a tool or a weapon, but as an equal partner in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization." He turned to Captain Zyra, a small smile on his face. "The Zarek showed me kindness when they had every reason to fear me. They risked everything to stop a threat they barely understood. This is the kind of courage and compassion that will light our way forward." Zyra's scales shimmered with emotion as she stepped forward to stand beside Harper. "The Nebula Seeker's mission has always been one of peaceful exploration and mutual understanding," she said. "I believe that with Lieutenant Commander Harper's help, we can expand that mission. We can learn from humanity's mistakes and build on their achievements." High Counselor Zhen considered their words carefully. "And what of the Sentinel Collective? Their actions, while perhaps well-intentioned, cannot go unanswered." Harper nodded grimly. "Agreed. Their manipulation of developing civilizations is unacceptable. But rather than meeting suspicion with more suspicion, I propose we extend an open hand. Invite them to join us in creating a new galactic accord, one based on transparency, mutual defense, and the free exchange of knowledge." Debate raged for hours, but in the end, the Council reached a consensus. A new interstellar alliance would be formed, with the Zarek, Harper, and eventually the Sentinel Collective as its founding members. This alliance would be dedicated to exploration, scientific advancement, and the protection of developing civilizations. As the council session adjourned, Harper found himself on a balcony overlooking the sprawling Zarek capital. Captain Zyra joined him, her 4 eyes reflecting the warm light of the setting sun. "So, Lieutenant Commander," she said softly, "how does it feel to be the ambassador of a long-lost world?" Harper chuckled, a sound tinged with both amusement and melancholy. "Overwhelming," he admitted. "Part of me still feels like I should be fighting a war that ended centuries ago. But maybe this is the victory my people truly needed. Not conquest, but connection." Zyra placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You're not alone, Shaq. Whatever comes next, you'll face it with friends by your side." Harper nodded, his gaze turning to the stars just beginning to appear in the darkening sky. "You know, Zyra, humans had a saying. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We've taken that step today. Now we see where the journey leads us." As night fell on the Zarek homeworld, Jack Harper, the last scion of humanity, stood ready to help guide the galaxy into a new era of cooperation and discovery. The wounds of the past would never fully heal, but with each passing day, the future grew brighter. The legacy of humanity would live on, not in weapons of mass destruction or AIs bent on vengeance, but in the indomitable spirit of exploration and the eternal hope for a better tomorrow. And Jack Harper, once a weapon of war, had found a new purpose as a builder of bridges between worlds. The stars beckoned, and a new chapter in galactic history was about to unfold.